Hey everyone, today we're going to be checking out a clip from the Piers Morgan Uncensored show, and it will be with Andrew Wilson as the guest, debating about feminism. So let's get right ahead and let's get started.
Emily, where do you sit? Are you a covert feminist like Tommy? Did you agree with Andrew's assessment?
I'm not a covert feminist. I am very outwardly. The word feminism has been hijacked by like the woke left who uses it as an excuse for psychotic women and liberals to scream on the streets, we want equal rights when we have equal rights. I'm more so an empowered woman who encourages other women to, be independent, work hard, chase your dreams. And that doesn't come at the expense of being feminine. It doesn't come at the expense of now, as a feminist, you need to eradicate all men. I don't think everything is so black or white. Listening to that debate, they spoke a bit about gender roles, and here's my take on that. If you're going to have gender role expectations for your man, that's a personal choice. Emily Austin has high expectations of her man. He has to be working hard, he should be successful, he should, pay attention to how I feel. Like, there should be certain gender roles. He has to provide for the family, not solely, but he should be providing for his family. These are gender roles. As a woman, I learned how to cook. I know how to clean. My grandmother always tells me, my mother tells me, Emily, you're going to be a good wife. You're going to be loyal. You're going to be supportive. You're going to act like a lady. Now, there's many women who don't want to play into the gender roles, which is fine. But then don't expect your man to go out and become masculine. I think it's equal.
All right, so I just want to pause it right here and just quickly comment on what she's saying. So I agree with her for a few things. Now she's saying that some people don't want a traditional relationship, and that's completely fine. I think it's up to each individual what kind of relationship they want. But the important thing is that you cannot ask your man or your woman to be the traditional one if you're not gonna do it yourself, right? That's obvious. There's another thing though. She keeps saying she's not the covert feminist and she's not the feminist in that sense. But if you hear her words, like she says, she just wants women to be empowered and independent and all this stuff. And these are the exact words that the modern feminists use. So I think she has some sort of hidden meaning when she says she's not really a covert feminist. But yeah, let's see what she responds and let's see how Andrew Wilson takes it.
Like, set the expectation and then date people who meet your expectation. But in terms of covert feminism, first of all, it's such a silly term. Either you support women or you don't. And I'm not talking about the trans argument right now. That's
not
a
only is
separate
it
one.
not only is it not a silly term, it is true that most of the political pundit women on the right are covert feminists. And I'll just ask you the same exact question I asked Tommy.
Because the word feminism
Hang on,
got
let me finish.
hijacked.
Let me finish
That's
the question. Let me finish the question. No, I'm talking about all the way back to first wave feminism. Okay, you are feminists, and I'll explain by asking you the same question. If it is men's duty in society to procure, refine, protect resources, which then men and women, or I'm sorry, women and children are the primary beneficiaries of, which they are. What societal duty, which is equal to that, do women have? What is it?
Women, we're going to have children. Men will never understand the burden of carrying a child.
So you have a duty to reproduce?
I expect women to be able to cook and clean.
Wait, so you have women have a duty to reproduce?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So that's the one
Absolutely
duty that's on par. Great. So that's one duty that's on par with that. I totally agree. Are they? Or is it the case that in every single nation in the West, we are under reproductive rates in every single one of them? In every single nation in the West, we are lower than where we need to be for reproduction. So it seems that men are fulfilling their social duty and women are not.
So basically what he's saying here is that he believes, and I also believe, that men and women have different roles in society. So for men, what they need to do is they need to keep society running. This means all the infrastructure, all the roads, the plumbing, all of this electricity, it needs to work. Now, for something that women can do that's on par with that is to reproduce. But if we look at especially in the West, all of the countries, their birth rate is lower and lower and lower, and they're having less children, which means if that is the women's part, they're not really doing their part. But for the men's part, everything infrastructure is still evolving and going better and better, so they're doing their part. So this is basically what he's trying to explain here. Now I'm excited to see how she responds to this one, so let's go ahead and continue.
And the problem with the right is that the
Yeah.
right doesn't ever address this, and right-wing females never address this. Instead, they
I
say
think
it's
we do.
equal. Work and motherhood are equal. They're not equal. Not only are they not equal, but let me give you another example here. As you dive into this, try to understand that what you do is you actually hamstring women by telling women they should go and be girl boss babes and go to college starting in their 20s. They actually destroy their prime reproductive years. They destroy them by having families later. It's the primary
Okay, that's
cause.
silly. I'm 23.
Hang on,
I am
listen.
not
It's
having
the
a kid
primary
anytime
cause
soon. My
for the
kids will be just fine.
reproduction crisis. It's the primary cause of the reproduction crisis in the West, is that with women defer families till they're in their 30s. Why do you think the average age of marriage is 32 in the United States? I think it just got raised to 33. Yes, you're going to have way less kids. Okay, part of girl bossing is when you say career women are right on par with mothers. They're not, and society should be glorifying one, not socially shaming the other, but you shouldn't give them the same elevation you give to mothers and matrons of families. That is pure covert feminism.
Okay.
Before we get her answer right here, I want to talk about Andrew's point right here. And I completely agree that in society today, we're not really giving mothers the amount of praise that they actually need. A lot of, especially on the left side these days, are saying that you should work harder and you should just have kids when you're 40 and you have your full career and stuff. And obviously, I think this is a bad idea. At a certain age, it will be more and more dangerous to have kids, and some cannot even have them. So I think we should praise women more about having kids and make them realize that it's really important and it's a really good thing that they're doing. So that's just my take on it. Let's continue.
I'm going to answer you with the following. I don't believe in the glorification, and especially I see it amongst Gen Zers, of not having children. I actually think it's disgraceful, and I don't think it's a flex at all to brag about not wanting to repopulate. It just shows me that you're so insecure that you're going to be a bad parent that you're not doing it. On the other hand, I'll ask you a question in return. Would you prefer a child growing up in a damaged family with a mother who clearly wasn't ready to raise a child and raise potentially what could be a deranged child who grows up to be a serial killer or a murderer, or how about this, just a really bad person, rather than wait a few more years until she's ready to have her kid and then raise a mensch? What do you prefer?
Well, so here's what we can see when we break this down. What we see when we break this down is the abuse happens in the public school, where you're 100 times more likely to be essayed than you are if you're in a Catholic church. We see that if it is the case that you're a single mother, you are a single mother, especially by choice, that is usually the selection of stepfather that leads to the abuse of the children. We also can see via the stats that you're completely just insane here. You are actually, if you stay inside of a family where you mom and dad don't even like each other, your outcomes are still better than if you, the girl boss, goes, I just don't feel fulfilled. I don't feel fulfilled, and so I need to go and date the neighbor down the road or whatever, right? The truth is that regardless of your fulfillment, children are the duty. The next generation is the duty, and women have a duty to keep the family intact as well. They're responsible for most of the divorces. They file for the most amount of divorces, not because of abuse, but because of irreconcilable differences. And when asked, I don't feel fulfilled. And it's like, that's not how we run a society. It's literally a death sentence for our whole society. Look at what's going on in the UK. It's a death sentence for them.
So I just want to point out something real quick. If you try and look at the woman in the middle, she looks like she's just thinking, what is he talking about? That makes no sense. Obviously, I agree with Andrew here, but just the look on the girl in the middle is kind of funny. Now, what he says about women initiating most divorces is completely true. In the US, I believe it's about 80% of divorces initiated by the woman. And it's not because of some weird reasons. A lot of it is actually just because they don't feel happy. So I think if they would maybe focus more on their family and on their kid, maybe they could feel much more happy, and they would also not file so many divorces. Now, there has been a study that shows that the most happy group of people are married women with family. So that just goes to show that usually this is the best path for most women and also most men. But these days they're told that they don't need a man, they don't need a family, they should just do whatever they want, go date whoever they want, go get this job, don't care about kids at all. And I think it's really hurting society.
Okay, let me bring in Stasia, who's been grimacing throughout that. Stasia, why are you so outraged by what he's saying?
I'm not outraged. I just think that you all are fairly stupid. And everything that's being said is ridiculous. And it's just like a comedy show
You
being
think you
played
can
out by
change your
himself.
sex? How can you ever call anybody stupid? How can you ever call
Well,
anybody stupid?
Yeah,
You
she
think
should
you
sit
can
that
change
one
your
out.
sex?
Hey, I'm just sitting back watching the shit show happen. I'm here for it.
All
I mean,
right,
how is that
Julie,
possible?
You started the shit
you were
show,
not.
honey.
Well, hang on. I want to get Julie to respond to Andrew.
Oh, I zoned out and I thought I'd woken up in the 1950s in some TARDIS. You can't take him seriously. It's ridiculous.
Oh, you mean in the 1950s? You mean in the 1950s when we had intact families where 95% of women were getting married as virgins, where families weren't being broken up, where crime was extremely low, where you only needed one income to support an entire household, where mental illness was at an all-time low? Like that 1950s? I'm
you
sorry that I
wallow in
make a
your
reference to a
fantasy.
time.
You
how do
Sir,
wallow
are
in
you
your
married?
fantasy.
Are you
Yeah, I'm
married?
married. How do you make married with many children?
Is your
How
wife
about you?
happy?
You married with children? Oh, she's ecstatic.
No, I'm 23.
she's
I'm a
gonna bring
boss
me-
lady girl, which seems to
Yeah.
be driving you crazy.
Yeah.
Working, making
well, I'm
money,
just pointing
waiting
out
for the right guy to
the
come
only
along.
thing you have no arguments. You just try to assault me personally. You can try, but the truth is that I've reproduced. I am
How
married.
did I assault
do
you? I
have
asked
the
you
life.
if you're married.
All right, so now the personal attacks are coming out. Every single one of them are personally attacking Andrew about his personal life, not about what he's saying, but about his personal life and his person. So usually, unfortunately, this happens a lot from the left. And the girl on the right, I'm pretty sure she's also left, even though she doesn't want to admit it and is trying to hide it. But yeah, usually this happens. They're gonna do the personal attacks when they don't really have anything else to say. So Andrew, of course, he has done this many times before. He's been in many debates. It's not gonna get to him, but you should just notice that usually they will go to the personal attacks if they don't have any logic at all.
No, you didn't. You were making a passive-aggressive
I mean,
feminist
Wait, how
to
did
be
I
fair to
assault
about
you?
how my
You
wife
sound
must be
liberal.
miserable.
Andrew,
Your wife must be miserable.
to be fair, Andrew is
She might
practicing
be.
what he preaches. I want to bring in another clip from a debate between Megyn Kelly and Matt Walsh on the similar theme. Let's watch a little clip from this.
Again, having said that, I like the guy. I'm getting a little tired of his nonstop judgment of women who make different choices than the ones he wants us to make. Sorry, Matt, you're not our Jesus. We don't answer to you. Like, live your life the way you want to live it and stop judging everybody who makes a different choice. I'm sick of it.
Covert feminist.
And she went on to say this about young men not wanting to marry career women. Let's take a listen to this.
We're now telling young, conservative, amazing women that they're not attractive if they also work. If they choose to, let's say, do what I'm doing and what you're doing and like get their voice out there. But I'll stick with me just because I think conservatives listening to this will like the thought of another Megyn Kelly voice up and coming.
Now, Matt Walsh responded by saying
Chris,
men
can I
are
tell you the
generally not
beauty of all of
attracted
this?
to ambitious career. Well, hang on a minute. I want to read a clip from Matt Walsh, or a quote. He said, men are generally not attracted to ambitious, career-driven women, and women's first priority should be children and looking after the home. So, Emily, what do you think of that?
Just before we hear her comment, I just want to share my thoughts real quick. Now, I'm gonna talk about in general. I cannot speak for everyone, and everyone is different. But for most men, they don't really care about the career or their education of their wife or girlfriend, since it has no real benefit for us, right? And also, there's another point here that usually if they want to be, as these women claim, strong and independent and make a lot of money, usually a lot of these jobs are male dominated. So if they want to be on par and they want to be competitive with the males, that means they also need to be masculine, right? So this is just not something that most men are attracted to. Of course some are, but the majority isn't. So that's just how it is. That's biology, and that's how it's going to be.
I think the beauty about free will is you make a choice who you want to spend your life with. Like, I know many men are okay with, a woman who works, and I know many men are not. And that's the great part, is you choose who you want to partner with. So if you want a woman to be home and have 5, 6, 7, 8 children, which is a beautiful choice to make in life, then go for it. If you want a woman who can do both, work and have children when she's ready, 2 or 3 children, then go for that type of woman. If you want a woman who's never home and going to be, on the road all the time, and trust me, there are many beta men who would love that, then go for that. Like, nobody is forcing you to be with a woman that doesn't cater to your needs. The same way no one's forcing any women to be with a guy like Andrew Tate that's going to beat you and make you miserable. We have choices, and we need to make calculated, wise choices as to what personally is best for you.
The Andrew Tate fallacy.
Julie,
Instantly moving over to Andrew Tate is evil and a representation of men who believe in a patriarchal system. Here's the truth. The truth of the matter is that we should be doing for society what is socially good for society. If we can't reproduce our society, that's a really bad social ill for society. When you have propaganda that is telling women to go get useless degrees
is for me
in
and
psychology
my husband, it's
and
not
sociology.
for society.
I think it's kind of funny and kind of ironic that the lady on the right keeps pretending like she's not some overly feminist, but if you actually hear what she's saying, she basically says that she wants all women to be empowered and independent and strong. As she said earlier in the interview, those are her words, not mine. And those are basically the words that all the feminists are using. So don't just believe what she says when she says she's not really feminist. And you can also hear how she's attacking Andrew on his viewpoints. So yeah, you can kind of guess it. She's also saying that his wife must be so miserable and all this stuff. So yeah, that's basically how it goes with these kind of women, unfortunately, when they cannot handle a debate.
Yeah, that's great. Let me
It's
finish.
actually
Andrew,
it's quite
Andrew,
sad.
hang on. There's Andrew quickly. Is Megyn Kelly a covert feminist, Sam?
Not covert, overt. She's an overt feminist. Covert's out for Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly came out and said women should be prioritizing career over family. That's what Matt Walsh's issue was with her, and he's absolutely right. The guy struck it out of the ballpark. Socially, in society, we should be moving women into a familial role. It's not to say that women can't work. Nobody's saying women can't work. We're just saying that if you're going to glorify things in society, it should be the mother in the intact home and the wife and the caretaker at home, not the girl boss. That's insane. And it's a societal death sentence. Walsh knows it. Everybody knows this at this point. If you can't reproduce your own nation, you don't have a nation.
Do you know how...
Okay, Julie, you wanted to jump in there.
I mean, do you know how insecure and pathetic you sound? You can't take you seriously.
Eat another donut,
I get
lady.
That I'll just finish. I get that you reckon that you're some big shock jock, and I know that you're desperately trying to be relevant, but you sound so insecure and so pathetic. You are
Do you have
irrelevant.
an
Sounds very
argument?
insecure.
Can you put the Duncan down for a second and give me an argument? Do you have an argument? Or is it just
Sorry, I
Andrew
haven't heard
bad?
one from you.
Yes, I've given you multiple arguments for the social fabric of all of society and how we can improve it, what we need to be doing, what we need to be moving towards. I gave you all the stats. I gave you argument after argument. Can you give me a single argument?
All the stats. You are the oracle. You know all about the universe and what's going to progress humankind.
Here we go, guys. Now the feminist words are coming. Apparently he's now insecure and pathetic, and it wouldn't surprise me if they also called him a woman hater, since they already said that his wife must be so miserable just because she's with him. So yeah, it's kind of funny how whenever I see these debates, they always use the exact same words. It's like they have like a community where they just share these words, and whenever someone uses it, all the rest will use it just like sheep. So it's kind of funny whenever I see this. It's just insecure, 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 pathetic, pathetic, pathetic every single time. Now, they haven't made any arguments, there hasn't been any logic at all, and then she proceeds to say that he hasn't said anything logical at all. But I guess if she's not really listening, then you can't really blame her if she didn't understand what's going on. But it's kind of funny. You have to admit that. It's kind of funny they always use the same words.
You're just
It's
a
not
shock
it's
jock,
not
mate.
psychic ability.
You're just pathetic. Nobody's going to
No
listen
arguments.
to you. You're
When
an
are you going to
aggressive,
have an argument?
insecure man.
I'm going to tell you what's
So
going
we're
to
not
happen. This
taking
is
you
going to go
seriously.
Well, this is going to go viral, and a lot of people are going to take me seriously, and all they're going to remember is that I told you that you couldn't put down the Dunkin' Donuts long enough to make an argument. Now, can you make one or not?
Oh, you know, this is schoolboy
By the way,
tactic.
a real
It's
man
schoolboy.
doesn't speak down
Yeah,
to a woman the way
I
you
don't
do.
care what you think
You're
a
not a real
man
man.
is.
You're actually
I
very
don't care
feminine
what
if
you
you
think
ask
a real
me.
man
You're
is.
a
Don't
very
care.
feminine man.
Yeah, nobody cares what you think real men
You're
are.
You sound super
pathetic,
feminine.
mate.
Yeah.
And how
Nobody cares what you think a real man is.
that you're such
I'm
a
sure your wife's
big
very happy
boy
at home.
by slating, bringing in
You're so mad.
personal
So
personal
mad.
insults about women's
You start. Hey,
I'm actually
appearance.
very
I'm
happy
sorry.
right
Wow,
now.
I'm sorry. You guys
I
think that
sorry
you can
for
feel
you.
for
assault
you
people.
when
We
you
can't
go
say
out
anything back.
into the big wide world from behind your macho
Well, one day when I go out in the
podcast
big
studio
wide
there.
world, I hope people will take me as seriously as they do women who make zero arguments
Wait, why are you
on a
on
show
Pierce
like this.
Morgan? Shouldn't you go be working right
Why
now
are
and making
you?
money for your
Why-
family to
I
support?
am
How do you have
working,
time to
making
I'm
a ton of
working. I
money.
don't
What
have
are you
kids.
talking about?
I don't have a husband.
You're
I'm
saying that
23
you
years
can't
old.
make
I'm not
money?
married with kids
You-
yet, but
you-
it
you
seems
can't
like
make
you should go
money
be working
podcasting?
right now to fulfill your gender role as a big,
I
strong
am
man.
working right now.
All right, so it's kind of funny and ironic at the same time because right before all of this, they were all attacking him and attacking his wife and his personal life and stuff, and they were all supporting each other like it was the best thing ever. But as soon as he says something back, they all go absolutely crazy on him. So I thought that was kind of funny. They all got so emotional and mad that he just said something back when they just attacked him right before that. And then, second of all, the lady on the right is saying, "You're not a real man." I also think that's kind of funny. They always say this, "Oh, not a real man. You're not a real man." Okay, nobody really cares what she thinks a real man is, and that's about it. So let's keep watching this clip. It's getting really interesting right now. So let's go ahead.
Oh, we'll get to work.
Well, let
That's
me
what I
ask- let
do
me
for a
ask,
living. I
You're
don't know
not
what
being
you're
paid to
talking
be
about.
here.
Yes, lady. I'm going to get paid a lot of money ultimately to be here. You have no idea what you're talking about. If you saw my bank account, what I make
Okay,
doing
sure.
stuff like this, it would
You're
make
so
you
cool.
weep. It
Oh,
would
show
make
us your
you
bank
weep.
account to make yourself feel
It
more
would make
secure.
you weep. Yeah, hey, the only thing you could think of was to try to assault my bank account, lady.
Assault.
That's it. That's the only thing
are
you can
so
think of. The
liberal.
only thing you
You
can
are
think of is you
feminine
don't work
man and you are
enough. You don't
liberal.
work enough. It's
Let
ridiculous.
me play. I want to play Emily. I want to play Emily a clip. This has gone viral too. It's had
Alright guys, I think we're gonna end it here before he plays this clip. I don't think there's too much left of debate that I wanna check out, but if you see Piers Morgan, he's even finding this really funny. He's just laughing, and I think he agrees with Andrew on this point right here. Now, I enjoyed this debate. I think it was quite funny. He really triggered these three women, so I think it was fun to watch, and I hope you enjoyed watching it as well, guys. Now, if you enjoyed watching it, please consider leaving a like and a subscribe, as it will help me out a ton. Thank you so much for watching the video.